Is the pairing of Millar and Capullo Reborn's recipe for success? Let's take a look at what they put out in issue number 1. What's up, everybody? I'm Stan, and welcome to Detail Comics, where we go over comics in detail. What I'm going to be talking about in this iRate review is Reborn issue number 1, which is written by Mark Millar and illustrated by Greg Capullo. So what we run into is that this is a brand new property that's really being produced by Mark Millar, and it was really kind of, his brainchild, and he reached out to Greg Capullo to work on it after he was done with his Batman New 52 run. This is really his, back into the independent world for Greg Capullo and the Image imprint, the Millar world, all that kind of stuff. It's really interesting how this whole dynamic really kind of works. But what we're talking about now is we're talking about the story. So the essence of the story is that as you live your life, you get this giant compilation of memories and things like that that go on as you're living your life. And as you get to the end of it, or as you find your demise, you really don't have any idea where you're going to be going. And in this world that Millar and Capullo are putting together, there is a very distinct purpose for people that have kind of moved on. And what we find is the rebirth portion of this, essentially the moment that you pass from our world, you are immediately interjected into this fantastical battle realm. And we don't necessarily know what kind of conflict is going on. We don't know what's going on with these characters, but the most important thing is that regardless of when people passed in your life, when your favorite dog when you were 7, or when your father passed away, your grandfather, your mother, your sister, your brother, anybody you've lost in your life, they are there. And that is a very interesting kind of perspective. Because if you're taking people from this normal life, average, everyday kind of situation in modern US, let's just call it that, and then you're interjecting them immediately into a brand new body, in a brand new setting, in a brand new land, where there's all kinds of fantastical things happen. I mean, immediately we get an axe into the skull of a dragon. It is ridiculous and amazing. That's a very cool concept. It's very cinematic, which is where you run into this story being a little bit different. Because if you take a look at Mark Millar's history, Mark Millar is a great marketer as far as his stories are concerned. He writes very good conceptual things. He's basically a pitch man for his properties. And the very first thing that I can see about Reborn is that it would make a very cool movie or movie series, depending on how this story really plays out. As far as a comic book's concerned, the visuals are amazing. The art from Greg Capullo is great. You can tell that he just takes painstaking amounts of time to put the detail into these particular things, and I love the way that the character design really goes. Whether you're talking about the older version of Bonnie, or the younger, more vibrant version of Bonnie, or anything in between, it's definitely something that's well developed, and he puts his pencil to paper for the purpose of making these books beautiful. The combination of the story and the artwork is really what makes this combination so great, and that's why I think that it's going to be very successful. As far as a book is concerned, it was super enjoyable to read. I was kind of taken out of left field when we see the introduction of this kind of beastly Viking kind of person who's wielding some sort of energy gun and his axe and fighting dragons, and it just looks ridiculous and amazing, and I want to be there. In this story kind of setting, it's definitely something that's entertaining. It's very easy to get into, it's very easy to read, and there's so much more to explore as far as a concept. I've got really high hopes, not necessarily for this book as far as the speculation pick is concerned, but the amount of talent that they were pouring into the book, as far as the writing talent, the art talent, and the way that they wanted to launch this, is that I feel like it's going to be a pretty big success for Image. I feel like it's going to be a very big success for the artists and creators that are involved in it, and as far as the storyline goes, it's definitely going to be well above average, and is probably going to make its way into one of the top-selling books for Image. That's if they can continue this kind of trend that they're on. The only thing that I'm really concerned about is a potential release schedule issue. I hope they can really kind of compartmentalize those things and make sure that they can either do it in chunks, good 5 to 7 book pieces, so that way they can complete a story arc and then move on to another one in a few months, giving the artist, Mr. Capullo, time to really dedicate it to those details. I'd hate to see something like that fall off for him in the future. But overall, this is going to be a rousing, yay, go grab it, go get it, buy your copies, don't be an idiot like me and get every single variant because they're awesome. Pick out the ones that you like the most and grab them, because it's a really fun book. It's something that you should definitely give a shot, and stick around for the first arc or two. It should be a pretty good ride. So that's my review for Reborn issue number 1, but I want to know what you guys thought of this book too. Hit me up in the comments down below and let me know what you're thinking. As always, if you like what you see, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe right there to get more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books, comic book movies, comic book TV shows and games, and anything and everything inside the world of comics.